So you're doing a new project now, right? Loose Diamond?
That's Louis' band. Loose Diamond's Louis' band. I played drums in.
Oh, really?
And it's taken, he tried to move here in 2002, and he lived here for a couple of months. During that time, we came up with a bunch of songs, or he came up with a bunch of songs, and we recorded some at my apartment, which it was not really good enough for a record, just kind of demo-like. And then since 2002, I guess like a couple years later, we went into actual studio and laid them down, and then then it burnt down. Luckily his stuff didn't get burnt up. Luckily his songs were saved. I don't know, some fire started in the sound room. This is like a
Easily.
luckily his songs got saved, and I think he's just now sending his stuff off to have it pressed up. We recorded that stuff like 2.5 years ago or something. It's the longest.
You guys are finishing
thing,
it.
you know,
You guys
like
are finishing it.
2000, was it 2007 now? I think it was 2002 or 2003 that we first started these songs.
It
And
was
it's taken
like,
forever.
I remember when you were finishing it.
But it was like 2 years from when we first started playing these songs. It was 2 years later when we actually recorded it in the studio, and then it was like a year later to finish it, mixing it. And because he lives in New Orleans, and he would set these dates to come up and mix it, and he'd set a date and he'd come up, but then he couldn't make it, or he'd set a date and come up, and he's here, but the mixer guy, you couldn't get him on the phone, he couldn't answer the phone, or he wouldn't answer the phone or something, and then eventually, I guess he took it and finished the mixing somewhere else at Jim Dickinson's studio, and it just took forever.
Is it ready to come out on a label though?
Yeah, he sent it. I got a message from the other day. He sent it, but he got the vinyl test press and it was fucked up, so he's got to have it redone on the master or something. But the CD is probably okay.
Well, what label is it gonna come out
Jim
on?
Dickinson.
That I don't know. Do you know what label it's? Empty Records.
Empty Records. Yeah. Are you just doing
It's
the
like
Loose
Louis'
Diamond
vanity
shit?
project. It's like Louis doing his like
It's a
big band kind of thing. He's got a power. He's got organ and real fancy studio, Easily Studio, where Sonic Youth recorded there. And as far as a rock band, it's famous. Sonic Youth. Pavement recorded their record there, and he mixed some at Dickinson's studio.
He like.
Where is
He recorded. He did shit
It's
on
out
like Sticky Fingers.
Mississippi, that direction, right when you cross the state line, about
He played piano. On
about
Wild
20
Horses.
miles.
Oh, right on.
He's like an old.
He played piano. Dickinson played. He's done tons of shit, but he played piano on Wild Horses and Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
That's his
Flaming Groovies.
biggest claim to music.
Replacement.
He's totally cool, dude. Yeah.
So he's like an old school rock
He
and
produced
shit.
a Replacements album in the 80s.
The Replacements, really?
Yeah.
Like what record?
Pleased to Meet Me.
Oh, right on. Cool. Yeah, that was the one after Tim, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Replacements were one of my favorite bands ever, but specific to like certain records of theirs. It was funny, my favorite record of theirs is Tim, which is like their first major label record, but I think that's one of the best
Tim's one
records
of my favorites.
ever.
That was the first album I ever heard by him. It's one of my favorites.
That record makes me want to rip my heart
Left
out.
of the Dial. And
Oh my
Little
god,
Mascara.
Bastards of Young, like Little
Yeah, Bastards
Mascara,
of Young.
fucking Jam, all of it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Lay It Down Clown is the only song. It's just okay or whatever, you know. But
Yeah.
the rest of them are like,
Because
I
they
mean, that's
had that
still
modern
cool,
rock
you know.
like sound to it, where every band from the '90s like sort of took from, which was all
It's
influenced
still
by the White
good,
Birds,
you know. But the
it
other,
is still good.
all these other
but
songs are like,
yeah,
really,
unbelievable.
really great,
Yeah, they're heart wrenching. They're
And
fucking
what's the one?
ridiculous.
Hold my
life.
Hold my life.
Oh my god, I know. Or Kiss Me on the Bus. Yeah, like
Kiss Me on the Bus.
all jams. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you get.
That's a good
I feel
album.
like a lot of people don't even understand or respect the Replacements
like
as
that
much
album.
as I do.
I like that. Yeah, people either like. There's no in between. People either like it or don't. Talking about Replacements on TV.
So wait, Jack, how long have you lived in Memphis?
Since the summer of '87, so I'm approaching 20 years in Memphis
Wow.
this summer. And
What's made you stay here?
I don't know. I just can't find the highway to how to get out of here. I think like.
Well, I'm just curious because you're
Somebody
like
told me one
associated with
wrong and
Memphis,
it-
like.
it dead
Well,
ended,
you're
you
one
know.
of the most like in terms of like musical fame and all that shit. You're totally associated with this place, so it's funny. Like, I would figure
I
you'd
tried to
be
move
from
into New
there.
Orleans in '93. I moved down there. I didn't know anybody. I was just walking around. It was in the summer. And this is right before Oblivion started. So I was going to move there because Greg moved to New York we had the Gamblers and it totally disbanded. Everybody moved out of town, one place or another. We had a great gig and everybody felt so great. It's like, wow, it's a great gig. I'm moving. And so I moved to New Orleans where the Gamblers drummer went, and we played once and it sucked. Played in his apartment, played a Pink Floyd song. I was like, man, I got to go back to Memphis. I came back and one weekend I just visiting Memphis. Me and Greg had moved back and we hooked up with Eric and we wrote 10 songs and I went back to New Orleans and nothing happened. I was like, shit, man, I gotta go back to Memphis, man. And that's pretty much how, if that hadn't happened, I'd probably still be in New Orleans. But I just had a visit here and it was fun. And it's like, we'll go back to Memphis and play with Greg and Eric.
So,
the next thing you know, we got
the Compulsive Gamblers started before the Oblivions,
Yeah.
but then you guys, after the Oblivions broke up, you started the Compulsive Gamblers again. And that's when you recorded what, Crystal Gazing, what's it? Crystal Gazing, Look Amazing, yeah.
I met this guy last night. I was setting a couple songs. This friend of mine that plays every Wednesday at the Gibson Bar downtown. And he had a couple guys sitting in. Jeff Evans sitting in, and this other guy named Joe, calls his name Josephus, kind of a tattoo.
Not Bocephus.
Not Bocephus, but it's kind
Wait,
of
are you
a.
getting a drink?
You need one?
Can you give me a bucket soda in my I have a tab.
Soda. Yeah, I can do that.
I met this
Y'all
guy
good?
named
Yeah,
Josephus. He's got all these tattoos, long hair, real outlaw rocker. Got the cowboy hat that kind of comes down right here. And he says, "You're Jack, man. I know you." He said, "I went to high school with Greg in Fraser. I forget the name of the school because I'm not from here, so I don't know high schools." And he said, "Yeah, man. I don't know what grade they were in, like high school or junior high, but he said, Greg showed me how to, I know Greg dropped out of high school, so it's probably junior high. He said, yeah, man, Greg, we were just little kids, man, but Greg showed me how to draw a pentagram with a goat's head in the middle of it. And man, that dude could draw, man." I was like, really? Greg was doing that shit?
Satanic.
So, like, what, how long did just because, we're doing it for this thing and whatever people know, but how long did the Oblivions last and then?
The Oblivions were like summer '93 till our last gig was like January '98 with Guitar Wolf in Japan. That's when it pretty much ended.
Okay. But-
Before the reformation.
Yeah, and then we got back together did some gigs. I kind of liked it when it was busting up because like Eric and Greg like really hated each other. I didn't realize they hated each other because right when they started hating each other, all of a sudden my songs started sounding really good. It's like Greg would like play the drums and make my songs sound good, and it's like and their songs were sounding like shit because they were hating each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if we could just keep it like this, if I can just keep these dudes hating each other, but you can't hate each other and stay together.
So
but then I think some years went by and they forgot why they hate each other, and
I don't think so. Cool.
then we
Then
played
Eric
some gigs.
took over his record.
But yeah, I'm trying to get them to hate each other again. I'm trying to find a way, start some rumors and
So,
stuff.
why did the Compulsive Gamblers get back together? Was it just based off of like people finally like showing interest in
yeah, we
that and realizing
disbanded
their song?
the Oblivions broke up and I stuck with Greg and for a couple of years, maybe 2 years, and we played for a while, and then that just kind of disbanded. I don't. At the time you asked me what happened, I could tell you right now. It's like this is just fucking fell apart. Who knows why? But yeah, years go by, you just miss playing with each other. And it's like you just want to get back together and do it. If you get back together and it's fun. It's weird like to start like we're gonna start toured and do this kind of thing again. Like it makes sense if you got like some money pumping into you, whatever. Gamblers or Oblivions. It's like, why would you want to get back together and like make it a band that works together all the time? Because that's not. I mean, unless you got like a fucking like shitload of people giving you cars and money, that's the motive. But otherwise, it's like
because good music does take a life of its own.
Yeah, I mean, I think
why-
like Greg and Greg wants to keep moving on, and Eric they want to. Or mainly Greg musically and Eric and other things like with the Goner Store. It's like they want to put their focus on, I mean, we did the Oblivions. I mean, how long can a rock band last past 5 years? 5 is kind of, the top. After that, it's like you're only staying together because it's like some kind of job or something.
Do you feel like the Oblivions have become bigger and bigger though? Because I do personally.
Yeah, well, I think after time, word's gotten around.
Yeah.
I think
Because good
everything's
music
always
does take a life of
everything's
its
always
own.
better when it's not around.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
You always
also,
appreciate it.
eventually people hear it and they share it with each other. You know what I mean? Like,
That's just how it is with everything
Yeah.
that's ever come out of Memphis. So it's like people always catch on later.
Yeah, there's no
And
music
it's like-
business
Yeah.
here. There's no David Geffen down the corner.
yeah.
I mean, I guess Stax it was a different story. They had Atlantic Records distributing them and everything.
Right, and
But,
that's what sort of Memphis is known, Stacks and stuff, and you know what I mean? It's sort
Yeah,
of been like forgotten otherwise in terms of these other things because it's been identified with
That's
it.
different. Than, I
But-
mean, that's more music than Oblivion's, but more musical. Or whatever.
But there's so much great rock and roll happening in Memphis, and I do think that your part in it is like extremely influential.
thanks.
So it's like, you know. But with the Compulsive Gamblers, how do you feel about like the Rating Sound and Mary Weiss like covering some of the songs?
I think it's pretty cool. You know,
Yeah.
I saw him play on the David Letterman or the Conan
Conan
show.
O'Brien, yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was.
Stop and think
I
it
was
over,
excited
yeah.
when I saw that. I was at a band practice with Mike Hurt, his band, and we had we had the TV there, and so we stopped the practice when it came on. But we're watching it on a TV that's like screen that big, you know, like something in a streamlined trailer or something.
Yeah.
Like, we're like wow, there they are.
Yeah, me too. I actually, I went to a party at Norton Records with Black Lips, and they played me some of the Mary Weiss records, but they didn't play me that song. So I was really surprised when they came on and played that. And I was like, that's a fucking cool
good song.
song. It's a great song.
Hey,
How are you?
Pretty good.
It's funny because it's such a great song to the point where it sounds like a song that could have been recorded in the 60s. Sort of like I Want to Be Your Boyfriend from the
Greg-
Ramones, which is
I think
one of
it's
the best
the best
60s
song. I
songs
think it's the
ever
best song
written.
that
Greg had that
ever
song
wrote.
on the Gamblers record we did right before that one, right after the Oblivions split up. We did 2 Gamblers records, and the first one after the Oblivions split up, he had that was one of the songs we were doing, but he didn't want to do it because maybe it was too pop, or maybe it was too close to home to something he knew, or maybe he thought it sounded like some other song, but he wouldn't do it. He didn't want to do it, and then make that record, and then later on, we're like looking for songs. It's like, man, that song, you know, you got to bring this one back, you know, you got to bring it back. And he's like, well, you know, I never could figure out how to end it or something like that.